Hello, thanks for catching Scorcher Toys at anymoon.com's review of the KitzConcept Casey collectible 1/12 scale Rick Hunter action figure released in August 2019 for about $59.99 US. This product also carries the STF Macross logo on it, but you won't find the name Hikaru anywhere on it, so I'm going to try to stick to the Robotech names. This was KitzConcept's second release following their Min-May from last year. If you're shopping for this toy, Big Bad Toy Store should be getting their shipment any day now. Hit my link in the comments below to support this channel and find a huge selection of toys from all your favorite shows. Rick comes in a white and red shipper box. Inside, you'll find a retail box that shows what Rick would have looked like if he accidentally ordered an extra large flight suit. There's a big window and pictures of what appear to be an earlier version of the toy on the back of the box. Inside, you'll find 2 trays of good stuff. The first includes Rick, his helmet, hair for use with the helmet, tightened collar, 4 faces with alternate expressions, pistol, rifle, and 4 pairs of hands. The second tray includes a display stand consisting of a base and arm, and underneath that you'll find instructions. Of paramount importance when it comes to action figures is the action. So you want to know about articulation, and we will start there. The head is on a ball joint, so you can rock his head either direction. You can have him look any direction. You can spin his whole head around like the Exorcist. You can look up and you can look down. Everything good there. There's a double ball joint at the shoulder, so the shoulder itself can rock up, down, back, and forth. And you can twist all the way around there. You have your elbow joint. You can only get about 90 degrees of articulation. You can't bring his hand up to his shoulder. So a little bit of a weakness there. The shoulder, or the elbow, does twist a little bit too, though. So that's going to let you get better poses, particularly when using the guns. The hands are on a ball joint. They swap out. I will show you that in a little bit. Going down, we do have a little bit of articulation right at the chest, which is really just for twisting purposes. There's not much back and forth there, a little bit. And then going down to the waist, we do have a waist. And again, we have back and forth, this time much greater range of movement there that you can accentuate with that movement up on top as well. You'll notice the material around the waist is flexible. So if I bring up the leg here, there's a little flexing going on. Now it's not so flexible though that you'll be able to put this guy in a seated position. So if you're thinking you're going to build yourself a cockpit, a 1/12 scale cockpit, it's going to be tough to get this figure to sit in there properly. So you might have to do some modifying if that were your long-term dream, which is probably no one that's watching this video. All right, so we have our waist. We have our ability to bring the legs out and back and forth. Now the legs are on ball joints, so you can also twist them. And you could even pop them free, and you'll have to when you're removing all the plastic that comes on the toy to protect it during shipping. We have a knee, a little better than 90 degrees of movement there. And you can also twist at that knee as well, which can help you out as you're trying to balance the toy. And then you have an ankle joint. So back and forth, out and in just a little bit there. Again, will help you get this toy standing up on its own. But if you don't need to have it stand up on its own, the display stand is going to be your friend. And here is the display stand. It's a very simple affair. It does have some writing on it to make sure you know who that figure is. The arm pegs right in. It can twist to give you a little more flexibility. It rocks back. You have a couple different points where you can set the style and size of where that arm is going to be perfect for your pose that you're going for. Now what I like about these KitzConcept action figures, and Min-May did the same or similar thing, they have something on the back that is removable that exposes that peg for the display stand. So we had the backpack. I can pop this off now. It was nice and smooth before, no obvious holes in the figure. We take this off. Now we've got our hole, and we can just plug the display stand right in there. And you can see it's gonna hold him up well enough where he can levitate. So it's gonna be a nice strong hold. You can then get Rick doing whatever it is that you wanted him to do. If you want to make him look like he's jumping, you can. If you want to make him look like he's running, you can. All of these things, easy to do, takes balancing the toy out of the equation and lets you have a lot more fun with it. Okay, so let's have some fun with this toy. It comes with some accessory guns. The guns are pretty basic. There's not much detail to them. If you have any 1/12 scale action figures that have weapons with them, they probably have better looking guns than these. I believe the rifle's from the training montage, and this handgun is from old EMI model kit artwork. So there you go. One of the things I'm not super thrilled with this toy are these removable hands. Too often, if you don't pull them out perfectly straight, the ball joint inside splits in two, and you find yourself with having to put it back together as you put the hand back on, which isn't that big a deal. It just seems like over time, if you keep doing that, it's gonna become a durability issue. So here, we'll take this hand off as well. So there you go. You can see that ball joint split as I pulled off that hand. And then the other thing that will happen occasionally is the ball joint will just come off with the hand, and then you have to figure out how to get that ball joint back out of the hand to put it back in the wrist to swap things. So there you go. So now I've got different hands on the toy. That's how the swapping happens. And you can see you can add a little bit of fun factor with the weaponry and the hands. We do have a couple different collar looks that we get as accessories as well. Here I've got the open, more casual looking collar on the toy. If I want to swap it out for the more buttoned up look, like we're going to put the helmet on, which is what we're going to do next, I can take Rick and just rip his head right off. And then I can remove this buckle, this harness. So I just pull forward, you can see the pegs coming out. We go to the back of the toy, we have a couple pegs here. And so that's how we remove his harness. And then with the harness removed, we can just apply a little pressure upward and take this off of the neck, take our buttoned up look and just slide that right over the neck. And it's really staying on from how tense it is right around the neck there. Take your harness back out. We are going to just peg it right back into place. Spin the toy around and get those pegs in the back again. And everything looks pretty flush and good, so I've got no issues with this. And then we can take our head and just peg that right back in, and we will have the buttoned up look for Rick. Now, the only issue I have for this is that they didn't give us a neck to swap out. So if we wanted to do a full white neck, so his flight suit came right up to the base of his head, we don't have that option. And I'll show you why that's a problem in just a second. Okay, so we've been having fun with our Rick toy, but now we're ready to put the helmet on. And what we're gonna do is we are going to pull the hair forward, pull the face forward, and pull this hair off towards the back. And then we're gonna grab our helmet, which looks like this. It's actually composed of several parts. So there's that front with the visor on it. There's this cowl on top. And one cool thing about the cowl on top is that it does feature an integrated visor that swings down, which we'll see a little bit more in a moment. And then you have the back piece, which is just going to peg back in just like that hair was. Grab a face and install that. And there's a peg on the bottom and then that bigger plug on top. Okay, we got that on. Now, if you are going to use the helmet hair, which you probably should, you need to make sure it tucks in super tight if you're going to use the visor gimmick. So press it on and make sure it's fitting into the hole perfectly. Oh. All right, so pressing that on. As you can see, I'm pushing quite hard. And you'll get the hair to tuck in on the sides inside the helmet. So it's really in there super tight. And that's what the face looks like, so not bad there. Then we're gonna grab this top part. I'm gonna bring the visor down and put it on. And there you go. So now you've got Rick visor down with the helmet on and the hair. And you could even take that visor and push it up. And there you go. That's how he looks without the visor being down. Now you also get this front piece. And I find that when I've got the helmet hair on, it tends to push it out a little bit. So what I would recommend is popping this piece off, removing the helmet hair, and then putting that front visor on. I've removed the helmet hair just like it went on, just popped it right off. And before I put on that visor, I wanted to point out that in the intro to the show, there is a good profile shot of Rick wearing the helmet, and it comes down to his cheek. And on the KitzConcept, the helmet stops around the ears. So I found that to be a weakness, might bother some of you. Now we do have this piece here. Now that I don't have the hair on, it will snug right up and look good enough. And the fact that he's not wearing the hair, pretty minor once that full visor is on. Now here's what I was talking about with the neck. You can see his exposed neck and chin even when he's got this helmet on. And when this is buttoned up, usually that's shown as attaching basically to the helmet. Like it creates a sealed space version of a flight suit. So that is a little bit of a shortcoming. Now, from most angles from above, you're not going to notice a little bit of exposed skin. And other people probably will not care about that. But just a very minor quibble I thought I'd point out. So I had two minor nits. First, I felt like the eyes could have been a little larger to capture that Mikomoto look. Second, the figure is maybe too tall, but definitely too slender. It still looks good though, and if you're like me and not much of an action figure guy, this thing will jazz up your Rick Hunter VF1J themed shelf. Pairing Rick with Minmay adds value to both and can be a lot of fun. You can continue driving the fun value up by mixing in some Sentinel figures. Yeah, the nature of Robotech meant we'd never have our favorite characters interacting with the other generations, but now we can do that with toys, and not those awful Matchbox things. KitzConcept, if you're watching this, start making the heads connect via ball joints so we can throw them on the ride armors. Hopefully, you now know everything you need to decide if you should grab one. Check out anymoon.com for my full article, subscribe, and thanks for watching.